Hello kings and queens, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Art of Life and Love. My name is Joanna, and this is an extension of my wellness and creative writing blog, also called The Art of Life and Love. I'll put a link to it down below, along with links to my social media, so you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Please go ahead and comment down below. I love engaging with you guys and hearing your feedback. Thank you for everyone who's a returning subscriber, returning person watching my videos. I appreciate you so much. And if you're new, then hi and welcome to my channel. As I mentioned last week, I'm doing a 6-part series into the lessons that I've learnt from 2020. It's been a wild ride, a lot has happened, and I've learnt a lot in the process. So I thought that since we're nearing the end of 2020 and hopefully moving into the much better year of 2021, I just wanted to share these with you guys so that you can hopefully apply them to your own life, and also so you don't have to go through the awful experiences that I did in order to learn these lessons. So my first lesson this week is that gut health is extremely important. In one of my previous videos, you will have seen me ramble a little bit about gut health, but it is literally the number one thing that I recommend for looking after your physical health. We all know what it feels like when your stomach isn't right. When you're hungry, you become hangry. When your stomach is upset, it can ruin your whole day. Wind pain is literally the worst pain that I've ever felt, and I hate it so much. Like, wind pain really stresses me out and it just ruins everything. Your gut is basically full of bacteria. Now, depending on what you eat, your gut could be full of good bacteria that help promote your digestion, help promote your health, or bad bacteria, which does the opposite and really screws you over. What you eat is what feeds the certain bacteria in your gut. If you're eating good food, then you will have more good bacteria. If you are eating bad food, then you will have more bad bacteria. I think it is super important, and it's something that is neglected in terms of health and well-being. But my first lesson for this year has been look after your gut health. You can do this by taking supplements, probiotics, prebiotics. One of my favorite powders to ingest is spirulina, because it just contains so much of what is good for you, and it doesn't even taste that bad. You can simply put it in a teaspoon in a smoothie every day, and you're really flushing out the bad things, all the bad toxins, the bad bacteria, all of that. Go ahead and Google how you can take care of your gut health, because it is super important. And science has found that it actually controls you more than your brain does. It controls your emotions and your actions more than your brain does. So that's why it's super, super important. My second lesson for this week is basically that it is okay to feel your feelings. It is okay to feel intensely. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being overwhelmed with emotions. My advice to you is that you need to feel it. Because like I said in my video last week, if you neglect your emotional and mental health, then that emotion, especially if it's negative and intense, especially if you're trying to repress and bury it, it will manifest itself in other ways, and most likely manifest itself physically. For example, like I mentioned last week, stress, intense stress in my life this year led to me being hospitalized with appendicitis and being an appendix lighter. It can manifest itself in many different ways. It is unbelievably unhealthy to try and repress your emotions, try to tell yourself that you're not feeling what you're feeling, or that you're not allowed to feel what you're feeling. Feel everything as intensely as you like. Set time in your week, in your day, to process information, process emotions, process your behaviors, your reactions. But basically, it's okay to feel your feelings as long as you feel them and then release them. If I feel anger and I sit there and I stew in my anger, and yes, I'm feeling it, I'm allowing it to consume me, but I'm not asking myself why I'm angry, like the real reason why I'm angry. And if I'm not processing my response, because obviously anger is a triggered response to something, if I'm not processing that, if all I'm doing is feeling the anger and then I'm retaining it and I'm walking around my day just so angry, then it's going to affect you negatively. What you need to do is feel that anger, process that anger, understand that anger, and then release it. Again, I like to release things using my letting go ritual. I'll put a video up here. Basically, I utilize visualization in order to release things. I kind of burn pieces of paper in front of me. But go ahead and check out that video if you want to learn more about my letting go ritual. My third lesson for this week is to recognize your triggers. Now, I do have a video on triggers, how to protect yourself against them. But my number one thing is that you should recognize what your triggers are, because it's not my responsibility not to trigger you. If you have a trigger that every time someone says the word marmalade, you have an anxiety attack, and I come downstairs for breakfast and I'm like, I feel like marmalade on toast, you're now triggered, but it's not my responsibility. That's not my fault. You need to accept and recognize your own triggers so that you can work on them. Because if you don't, then they will rule your life. And you don't want to go through your whole life being triggered by the word marmalade, do you? It means you'd never be able to listen to Lady Marmalade, and that is a tragic existence. You need to recognize your triggers in order to control your responses. This has been a very, very deep lesson for me this year, because I do have a lot of triggers that I've had to learn to overcome. But the biggest lesson for me has been that I need to recognize what they are. And that way I can communicate them to other people. At the end of the day, although triggers are a response to incidences of trauma, which were not your fault, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that your triggers are your fault. However, they are your responsibility to manage. And that's been a huge lesson for me this year, because I have had responses, I've been called out for my responses and had to really sit with myself to understand why I respond like that, what it was specifically that triggered me, what were the inherent feelings that I was feeling whilst being triggered, and how I can work on not being triggered anymore, because that's the end game. We don't want to just manage our triggers, we want to be able to overcome them. My fourth lesson that I'll go through today is that you need to extend forgiveness to yourself when you do not meet your own high expectations. I do again have a video on forgiveness that you can watch here, how you can forgive, how you can release resentment towards other people. But one thing I didn't touch in that video is that you need to forgive yourself. You can apply the same processes for forgiving yourself, but it's something that is usually neglected or overlooked. You don't really think to yourself, oh, I have to forgive myself because I'm the one doing things, I'm the one that's in control. But if you have, for example, high expectations that you fall short of, it's easy to become resentful towards your own shortcomings. It's easy to talk negatively about yourself. It's easy to hate yourself. Hate yourself for the way that you behave, hate yourself for your past actions, hate yourself for your inability to take action. But the main thing that I've learned this year is that I need to forgive myself just as much as I need to forgive other people. Otherwise, I will never be able to truly be at peace in my own skin. I've had to forgive myself for my behaviors, for the way that I've treated people in the past, the way I've treated myself. I've had to forgive myself for my low self-worth and low self-esteem that has held me back for so many years. I have honestly, I used to trash talk myself all the time. I had no faith in myself, no trust in myself. I didn't trust my own abilities, to the point where even my CV was my CV lacked value because I didn't know how to big myself up. I didn't know how to present my value because I didn't believe I had any. And I need to forgive myself for that. And it's a process. Like in the video, it's a process. But it's something that as soon as you understand it needs to be done, you can work towards doing it. Forgive yourself for your shortcomings. Forgive yourself for not being good enough, for not meeting the expectations that you've set for yourself or that others have set for you. Know that you are a high value being, you're the most important person in your life, and you need to act accordingly. Forgive yourself because you are worthy of forgiveness. My fifth and final lesson for this week is that it is never over, never truly over, until you stop trying. One of the biggest things that stop people from truly living their best lives is failure. Or I should say, it's not the failure itself, but it's our response to failure. It is very easy to fail and then give up. Fail and then give up. You feel as though you're giving it your all. You feel as though you've exhausted every option, and you fail and you fail and you fail, and then you give up. But how many stories have we heard of people being rejected, failing, losing out, and persevering, and in the end becoming successful? Just look at J.K. Rowling, just look at Bill Gates, just look at these people who started out late. You don't need to have your whole life sorted by the time you are 22. You do not need to put yourself down every time that you fail at something, because failure is just a gateway to learning. If you fail going down that path, come back and choose another, or build a bridge over that path so that you can continue down it. I have recently rejoined therapy, and my new therapist is such a blessing. Every week she's spitting bars at me, and I'm just like, oh God, okay, yeah, wow. And one of the things that she said to me is that there's no such thing as mistakes. There's no such thing as mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. Everything that you choose, every decision that you make is the right one. And you can always change your mind later down the line. All we have is life. All we have is time. There's no such thing as a waste of time. If you want something, if you truly, truly want something, then keep at it, because it is not over until you say it is. It is not over until you stop trying. So that's it from me this week, guys. If you liked what you've seen, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, drop me a comment to let me know what your thoughts are. Go ahead and subscribe, press that bell icon so that you can get notifications of my videos, which will be released every Tuesday around 2-3 o'clock. I've also got links to my social media pages down there. So I've got Instagram and Facebook, Pinterest if you're interested. Go ahead and click on those and follow me. Go ahead and say hi. I'm always responding to people that, are letting me know that my videos are helpful, giving me feedback. I'm always open to new ideas as well. So I look forward to engaging with some of you guys. I hope you are all having an amazing mental health week. This series of my 2020 lessons will continue next Tuesday, so watch out for that. Take care, everyone.